Governors across the country are battling out with their state legislators trying to pass their respective budgets. In New Jersey, Governor Chris Christie's plan to cut a $11 billion deficit without raising taxes is becoming a reality. The legislature reached a bipartisan consensus in support of the governor's budget on Monday. Here now with more is Governor Chris Christie. That is not New Jersey. Even I know that, Governor. It's the second time you're coming to us from New York. Are you trying to learn what not to do? Why are you there again?
No, I had some other things I had to do in New York City this morning, and so next time I'll be in New Jersey with you.
All right, good. We look forward to seeing you. How are you? You've been in before talking about what you're going to do, and you look good. You're ready to go. You're doing it. You've been bloodied and beaten, and you don't look like it. Are you feeling as resolved as you ever have been? Because the special interests and sacred cows have been all over you. It's tough, right?
I'm even more resolved now because at 2 a.m. this morning, we passed a budget that cuts $11 billion from our state's budget, balances it without any new tax increases on the people of the state of New Jersey. When I came to you back in March when we proposed the budget, they said it couldn't be done. They said there was going to have to be increased taxes. I said no, and last night a bipartisan group passed my budget, and we have closed a 37% budget deficit, the largest by percentage in the nation, while at the same time cutting $90 million in business taxes to try to spur some economic growth in the state.
And given what you want to accomplish, and you don't care if you told us if you only serve one term, how far along are you in what you'd like to accomplish? Are you 20% there?
It's hard to give it a percentage, but these are really, really good foundational steps that we've taken to do this. And you think about closing that size of a budget deficit in a state like New Jersey, which has had 115 tax and fee increases over the last 8 years. And to do it without any tax increases at all is a great accomplishment for everybody who participated in that last night.
You can't win, though, because it's still, people are now taking Christie Whitman's budget from 10 years ago, putting the rate of inflation, and you're still way over where it should. They say it should be 27, and you're at 29.4, and it's not that much better than what Corzine was able to do, or what the far right is saying to you.
No,
now.
Listen, it's significantly better, Joe, and they're just dead wrong. This is a 9% cut in our budget year over year from last year. So if you don't think 9% cut in spending is much better than what Corzine did, then we're talking about different numbers. It's a 9% reduction in spending. And I'll tell you something else. I can't fix all the problems in the state of New Jersey that they've developed over the last decade or more in 5 months. But what we have done is to put us on the road to fixing those problems. And I'll tell you real quickly what I did this morning at about 4 a.m. We sent out notices to all 120 of the state legislators using my constitutional authority to call them into special session on Thursday to deal with my plan to cap property taxes in every community in New Jersey at no greater an increase than 2.5%.
Governor, where did the bulk of those cuts come from the 9% cut in the budget? Obviously, there's going to be some pain felt in some places.
Becky, there's going to be pain felt every place. There's no question about it. We cut every department of state government. And some of the only places that we did not cut and increased spending a little bit was in health care, in things like charity care for the poor and the unemployed, dealing with continuing to enroll in our family care program so they can continue to get health care if their parents have lost their jobs. Those are the kind of things that we spent some more money on, but really almost every place else in the budget, it was across the board cutting in every single department. First time that's been done in New Jersey where every department was cut. All 22 departments were cut.
Does that include the pension funds, Governor?
We did not make a contribution to the pension fund either, yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
What are we going to do about that? I read another, where did I say? I think it was in the New York Times, in the magazine section, Roger Lowenstein, which I couldn't believe was in the New York Times, but it might be across the states $3 trillion or $4 trillion of unfunded liabilities if we don't assume a 22% return in the stock market forever.
Well, Joe, as you know, back in March, we did some significant pension and benefit reforms for new hires. And this fall, we're going to have to grapple with pension and benefit reforms for current employees to bend that benefit curve so that we can stop the growing debt in our pension system.
But people that have tried to do that, there's only a couple instances, I think, and they're being sued right now. I mean, how can you do it? Is there any recourse that you can have there?
Listen, we're going to do the right thing for the people of the state of New Jersey and for our children's future. And if they want to sue me, they can get in line. There are plenty of people suing over what we're doing.
Good for you, Governor.
Governor, you also mentioned that you are calling this special session to try and put a cap of 2.5% on property taxes. What do you think the odds are that that will be passed by the legislature?
Well, listen, I think we've got a good chance. To show you how we've changed the debate, last night the legislature passed a statute that would cap property taxes at 2.9%. Now, you're having Democrats pass a bill like that. Now, granted, it's full of holes like a piece of Swiss cheese. There's 10 different exceptions. 2.9% is too high. There's no voter involvement. It's a very flawed bill. We are talking about is actually capping property taxes at a lower rate in New Jersey. So we're winning the argument on that, and I'm going to work real hard, and we're going to work as long as we have to, calling those folks back into special session over the summer to make sure we finally give New Jerseyans property tax relief, because we have the worst property taxes in America. And for those of you who live in New Jersey, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You saw what happened in New York when Governor Patterson called the special session on Sunday. They showed up, refused to talk about anything, and we're back out the door in about 5 minutes.
Now, listen, New York and New Jersey are two very different places. And as we proved last night, New York still doesn't have a budget. We have a bipartisan budget that was approved last night. 99.88% of the budget that I proposed on March 16th was voted on, approved in a bipartisan way. So I have confidence in the fact that I'll continue to be able to work well with the legislature, in great contrast to New York. And I'll tell you something else. When you looked at Andrew Cuomo announce his platform, he talked about cutting spending, 2% cap on property taxes. It sounded eerily reminiscent of exactly what we're doing over in New Jersey.
We have Governor Patterson coming up, also from New York. We can do this one of two ways. I can either write down if you have a message for him, or I think we can turn it over fast enough where we can just play, whether you want to send him some well wishes or give him some advice, or what does he need? What would you recommend that he does? Does he have any hope at all?
Well, listen, I know Governor Patterson pretty well, and that's all I tell him is this. We have great authority in the governorship in New Jersey in our Constitution, and we've talked about it before. I'm sure he wishes he had that same level of authority in the New York Constitution. He's got a tough fight on his hands, and he needs to stand up like we've stood up and say no more spending, because this is crazy. We're bankrupting our children's future.
What do you make of the G20? And did it seem a little like maybe a commentary on our times when Europe is starting to lecture us on not becoming a entitlement state?
You betcha. You bet. And I'll tell you something, Joe. That's why we're leading the way in New Jersey. And because of our odd year, off year election, we get a year head start on all the other governors who are either pursuing re-election or election in this fall. Over 30 states are doing it. We're showing people that it can be done. People said there was no way we could balance the largest percentage budget deficit in America, larger than California, Illinois, or New York, without raising taxes. And we did it. We did it here in New Jersey, and we did it with votes from Democrats as well as Republicans. So it can be done. We just have to stand up and pay attention to what's going on, which is our country is drowning in debt, and we have to stop.
And you know what's coming on Friday, and then hopefully you'll be tuned in, but we got a jobless rate in what is supposed to be a recovery that's probably double what we're used to in this country, and that makes us feel like Europe at times when we might have a structural jobless rate of 8% or higher. I mean, we're stuck at almost 10%.
Yep.
I mean, should we not be addressing the needs of people like firemen and teachers by either keeping them employed or even unemployment insurance? Doesn't stimulus have a place? What would you do if you were the president right now?
Well, listen, first of all, I'm not the president. I got enough problems in the state of New Jersey to deal with. But what I'll tell you is our unemployment in New Jersey is 9.7%. It's the highest in the region. But I also have to tell you that the public sector unions have been almost completely shielded from this recession. from an employment perspective. They continue to get 4 and 5% salary increases. They continue to get civil service step increases. They continue to pay nothing or near nothing for their health care. We need to bring the public sector into the real world of what's going on in the private sector, because the people who are paying the bills for that public sector are